What's up everybody, thanks for checking out the channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to do a custom shower niche. If you guys like the content and you keep watching my videos, or if you just watch one and you like what you see, so that sounds kind of weird, but the content that is, smash that thumbs up. It really helps things out. It keeps people coming back to the videos, so it's much appreciated. It just takes 1 second. So if you don't mind going ahead and just doing that right now, much appreciated. Thanks for watching. So you can buy these off the shelf as a set size. They come in different sizes, like 12 by 12, 12 by 24, like 6 by 12 if I'm not mistaken. But the issues with those is you often end up getting into like preset sizes, and if you want to start doing other things to it, they're not always ideal. The best way to do it, in my opinion, is to do a custom niche. It's a little more work, but in my opinion, it's well worth the effort, especially in the final look. Here's a few different niches, and you can kind of tell by a custom niche versus a non-custom niche for a few different reasons. And you can see in these pictures here that the grout lines between the tiles line up with the niche itself. And that is not doable with an off-the-shelf niche. Not that it's not doable, but it's just harder to pull off. So it depends on tile size and stuff like that. So if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it's not going to work, obviously. So this is why I always do custom. For this one here, what we want to do is frame it as per, if you want the niche to be symmetrical in the middle, I've left to about 12 inches on either side. And I've left, in terms of height, I've left almost 15 inches in height. And by the time we get our waterproofing in there, and our tile will probably be about 13 inches, give or take. So the first step is you get this is a dent shield. It's a waterproof tile backer, as it says right here. I cut out this middle part, which is where my niche is going to go. There it is right there. And the first step is PLing this baby on. So it's just PL, construction adhesive. I like to make sure that this drywall is well PL'd from the other side. So this is a part of the house. This is interior space. I always tell the customer that they got to be careful if they're hanging pictures on this side, because if they put a screw through here, they could potentially put a hole through their tile or niche or whatever it is. So, but what I'm doing here is making sure that my drywall is nice and solid up against the framing. So it's all integrated, because these studs here, I added in. So I couldn't screw from the back side, because I didn't want to put any holes and have to do repairs and painting on the other side. So the alternative thing is just to give it a bead of PL. That way it's all locked in. So I'll do the whole perimeter. And then I'm going to put some gobs on the back. Well, nothing too crazy. So that's plenty. And then I'll take the offcut from this middle section and I'll pop it in. Make sure it's nice and solid in there, and that'll give you, once it's all said and done, it'll give you about a 3.5 inch ledge for your soap, shampoo, all that stuff. So it's next step, we're going to do the same thing for the sides, and then I'll show you how to waterproof this thing. So the manufacturer from Dent Shield requires, to meet their warranty, you gotta silicone the perimeter. So any joint where Dent Shield touches Dent Shield, you should silicone that seam. So we've done the corners and stuff and the horizontal pieces, and then we'll go over that after with another product. But for the niche, we're just going to run a bead of clear silicone or white silicone, but I've got clear on hand, around the whole perimeter. So I'm just going to give it a bead. You probably can't see it very well in the camera, but once we get the next product on, this will be a bit, it's a bit not irrelevant, but it's a bit overkill, but you'll see what I mean. It's just, you can't overkill this niche, so you don't want this thing to leak. So you'll see what I'm doing. Just hold tight. Ooh, I love the smell of silicone. So I've cut some pieces to fit on the ledge, top and bottom, and these measure out at 3.5 inches. I cut these at 3.25. So it's just going to make life a little easier if it's a little shorter. So I've got a nice clean cut. This one's pretty clean too, but this side is a little better. And we'll put that on the bottom. And what you want to make sure to do with the bottom piece, the other ones it's not so critical, but the bottom piece, you want it to have a bit of slope. So this is your waterproofing layer, and you're going to adjust your tile and stuff on top of that after. But if any water does get through to this layer, you want to make sure it can shed away. So a little bit of this, I'm just using a little piece of cardboard here. That's all I've really got. I'm just going to put it right to the back edge here. And it'll just give me a hair of slope, and that'll be plenty. So yeah, like before I screw it in, I've got lots of slope there. Probably even a little too much, but better too much than not enough. So get this screwed in. I'm going to throw some screws on there every 6 inches or so. And also I'm going to try to push this piece in, because this piece is still wet, right, from that PL. So I'm going to push it in and screw it down. Okay, so now it's all put in. I've got a bunch of excess silicone here. And what you can do with that is just get a piece of a shim or anything at all, just get that excess out. So that's gonna cause you headaches later on. So I've siliconed it up, cleaned it all up. Next step, we're gonna waterproof it. So I'll show you that in a sec. I use a product called Red Guard, and we mesh it, Red Guard it, and this is completely watertight. So I've done a water test on this. I've actually done a mock-up version of this at the shop, and it holds up water for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and there's no leaks in this stuff. So a couple coats of Red Guard, and it's a liquid applied membrane. Works super well, and there's a few other brands out there too. I can't remember them offhand, but I'm sure Mapei makes one. Same with Sigma. No, it was Sigma? Anyway, tile companies would make it. So, but check it out. I'll show you how to do it. All right, the next step here, you're gonna need some Red Guard. So this is like a liquid membrane waterproofing, the liquid applied. It goes on pink. Yeah, it's a bit runny there. It's been sitting for a while, but I'll mix that up. But you can see it kind of dries red when it's ready to, when it's all set up. So for this step, you'll need a damp rag. I use some 6-inch drywall mesh. You can use regular drywall mesh. I just find when you're wrapping the corner, it sticks a little better when it's a little wider. You can get this stuff on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. There's a small little commission that I'll get from that, but anyway, so you can get it anywhere. I think you'll get it at your local tile supplier, maybe the depot and stuff like that. But the other thing you'll need is a 4-inch trowel. So you can apply this stuff with a roller, a little zip roller, but I find you have to put a few extra coats to get the thickness. I like to put it on with a trowel because then you can lay it on a bit thicker. So check it out. So the first thing you're going to want to do is give everything a good wipe. So you had that dust from the fiberglass on there from the day before, from these sheets. So wipe the whole perimeter. Make sure you're dust free, or you get a good stick. Something else that you could probably use is a fan to speed up the drying process, but you don't necessarily need to. But anyway, so you cut this mesh to the width of the niche. Mine's right about here, and you want to try to get a fairly accurate cut, or size I should say. It's going to help you out. So this one's just a hair long, but that's alright, I'll trim it off. Alright, so I'm going to need 4 of these, so I'll just stick that one, or not. Alright, once you get those long ones cut, you're going to need some for the sides as well. So again, same thing, you'll need 4 of these. Alright, so we got our 4 verticals and our 4 horizontals. Then we'll need some corner pieces, but let's get these on first and we'll trim those after. All right, so let's put these aside. You're gonna have to put this front edge on first. That way you can wrap the front, and I would try to leave as much length on the back side so it sticks, and you see it's not even sticking for me, but once you get the red guard on, it's gonna stay on just fine. So I'll get that one on, and I'll put this one on top to kind of hold it in. So I'll just grab an inch of that, and I'll get that inside corner. Make sure the mesh is nice and tight. That's pretty good. So that'll be the bottom. So I'll give this a little whip here. Mix it up nice and fluorescent pink. A wet cloth is always good too, to keep your fingers clean if you get it on there. Or latex gloves is probably even a better idea. But just gonna kind of want to use it as a bit of a glue. So just work it into the mesh and make sure that mesh is tight. So when you're using a trowel like this too and you want to get a longer length, I got like a big bubble, not a bubble, like a big clump on the tip of the knife. And people would typically try to do that. But if you get a nice bubble on the tip and you kind of roll your knife down like that, of course, now I get to show you and it doesn't work, but if you go this way, you can get the whole length in one shot. So make sure your mesh is all filled up. Do the back side as well. See this stuff here, you're gonna try to avoid that. I mean, it's not the end of the world because you're gonna need a few coats of this, so you can fill it on the second coat. And this stuff, when it dries pretty hard. So, and by pretty, I mean like a rock. So you're gonna want to take off any high spots because that's just gonna give you a hard time when it comes time to tile. So make sure everything's nice and filled. And this front edge, make sure you kind of, see it kind of wants to bump up on me here. So I'm gonna make sure that's nice and tight. And we'll use the red guard as a bit of a glue. And there's a bit of a gap here if you look closely. So we're gonna try to fill that whole gap right up, right? Because especially the bottom edge, that's gonna be the edge that's most susceptible to leaks. So we wanna make sure it's all filled right up. And we don't also wanna leave this ridge. So if we, in theory left a ridge like that all the way across and the water did make it through our tile, then we'd end up having a little pool back in there, which is bad for business, especially when you warranty stuff. So we'll fill this whole thing up and we'll check in a few minutes. So next we're going to do the side, same thing, just try to get lots of coverage over the seam there, and then I'll wrap the inside corner as well. And like I mentioned before, the silicone is a bit redundant, but better over designed than under designed is the way I see it. So once this goes on, this is watertight, so this is, it's not leaking, but like I said, better safe than sorry. And having a good drop sheet in the bottom of the shower or tub or wherever you're doing this is a really good idea too. Because like I said, when this stuff dries, it dries hard. next step, we're going to want to cut some short pieces for the 4 corners. I was going to say 3 corners, but I haven't had much coffee yet today. Let's go with 4 corners. So just try to get these pretty accurate. You know, kind of going, yeah, it's going to be good. All right, so that's those. And the last piece, come down here. So, I cut a bunch of chunks like this. 1, 2. And for you contractors watching, it's always good to give this a little fold, that way you can find the end next time. Homeowner, you can throw it in the stash and probably never use it again, but this, so you want to cut some, I don't know, I think they're called bow ties, I don't know. It's essentially just a bow tie shape. Leave like a good 1/2 inch in there, 3/4 of an inch. There you go. So those are going to be your outside corner pieces. There we go. So it's just going to go right over top here and right down the corner. So you want to fill these holes here. So that corner there, just make sure that's all nice and filled. All right, give it a last little scrape there for any high spots. And should be all set for coat number 1. So as in my own little world, I'm the only guy that does this. So it makes for a way nicer finish. So you can just lay it out with your tile better, and you'll see what I mean. I mean, you saw pictures, but I'll show you some more at the end of the video, so stay tuned. So you can see this has gone from pink to red. It's nice and dry now. We might have some spots like right here that might be still a little damp, but I'm not too worried about that. What we want to do with this second coat is to thicken it up. We're also going to go around and fill spots like that, little holes, and you can see the board right here. So we'll give it a quick shot, and then once it's dry, it'll be ready to tile. Something else I forgot to mention too was that you can't use a mastic mortar over RedGuard. So it has to be like a Portland based, like a modified or a non-modified mortar. So essentially you're gonna have to mix the cement to put the tiles on. So a mastic usually comes in a pail and it's pre-mixed. A product like OmniGrip would be one of them. And every manufacturer has their own brand of mastic, but the mastic doesn't work over this. It would react with the RedGuard. So this is Portland over this only, so FYI. Mine took about 3-4 hours to dry the first coat, so I'm assuming the same for this one, but we're calling it a day here soon, so we'll end up tiling tomorrow. But you get an idea on how to do this, and that's how to do a custom niche. So again, a niche off the shelf, a Schluter one, or any other manufacturer that makes a niche, it's going to be a good niche, but a custom one is going to be better every day of the week. It'll get a nicer finish, it'll be exactly the size you want it to be, and it's cheaper. Well, not in terms of labor, but in terms of material, it's cheaper. So anyway, as usual, thanks for checking out the channel. Smash a thumbs up. See you guys in the next one.